The tougher part for me for Austin is not his shot. Like, I'm not worried about his shot. It's what Evan Cohen and I talked about. You're bringing back a weak defender, and you're bringing back a guy who hasn't played a lot, and he's going to get picked on.
Oh, big time. And, man, they bodied him and threw him like a rag doll around the floor last night. There must have been at least 3 times where somebody just shouldered him and pushed him, and he went flying. They were picking on him. To use your phrase, they picked on Austin Reaves last night. And they said, you know what? Probably not in shape. He's probably maybe a little bit tentative. He looks kind of skinny. They just were throwing him around the court last night.
Yeah.
Now, I get that this is just his first game back, but the thought around Austin Reaves in the playoffs is that he's not a great player in the playoffs, that these are the types of games that he has. Now, hopefully this is an anomaly because he's had some time off, a month off. But last year, he was the same way. He got pushed around. He couldn't hit his shots. He was a detriment to the team in the playoffs.
And this is why I said I don't know if I would give him the full max.
So, and that's what my question is him coming back, and if he's bad again on Friday in Houston, is it start to become a conversation of maybe we don't give him this full max, maybe it's a smaller number, or does he go somewhere else? I mean, it's now becomes a real conversation.
Let's not get there yet. Like let's
I know,
let's
focus.
It's a little bit
Focus, Bergie.
Go ahead.
Go back
Let's
to
not
Durant,
get too
Bergie.
far ahead here.
Go back to Durant, Berg. Go back to Durant.
Let's
Durant.
not get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay?
Well, because you can't really judge Austin Reaves on last night.
Of course not.
In fact, if anything, you give him credit for having the wherewithal and kind of the heart to rush back as fast as he could. Because remember, just by way of comparison, remember when Mookie Betts went out with the injury just a little bit before Austin Reaves, and everybody's like, he'll be back in just a couple weeks. It's not that big of a deal. Look who got back first. And a basketball player versus a swinging of a bat of a baseball player. I'm just saying, he came rushing back to try and help this team. And it's hard to judge Austin Reaves off last night. You got to give him a little bit of a break. I think, George, that Austin Reaves in the next game will look a lot more like Austin Reaves.
Sure, I think his offense will be fine. Yeah. If I had to guess, his offense will look better. And I think that, barring there not being some sort of setback with him, I think the offense should be fine, yes.
I just felt like last night, for whatever reason, the Lakers offensively just looked completely disjointed.
Yeah,
as if
terrible.
And this was my concern about, look, you had to bring Austin back, and even if you lost last night, you still needed him back because you wouldn't want to bring him back down 3 or up 3-2 and put him on the road. I think it was a smart move to play him last night, get some of that rust shaken off, and get everybody on the team on the same page. But I don't think anybody was on that same page last night. And that's the one concern. It's like they did have a nice chemistry. They did have a nice flow to the way they were playing. They did win 3 straight games in a row in the postseason. By bringing a player like this off the bench or starting him, however the hell it went, and I know he didn't start last night, you're impacting what has been through the first 3 games. And you take that risk. But it's worth the risk. Listen, I'm telling you, I still think the Lakers are going to wind up winning this series. But you had to put Austin Reaves back in, even if they lost the game last night, so that he's better in Game 6. And even if they lose Game 6,
right,
then they get to come home, and he's better. Now this is his 3rd game back in Game 7. Listen, fearful? Yes. Confident? Maybe not as much. But I still believe.
I'm less worried about his offense in the next game, and I'm more worried about his defense, just because I feel like there's going to be someone, and I mentioned this briefly earlier, there's someone for them to pick on. Since Houston is not a good offensive team, okay, having someone who is not a great defender out there is really giving them a break on offense in some ways, because then they can attack him and go to the basket and not have to rely on three-point shooting. So it's going to be fascinating. Like, Kennard, to his credit, held up better defensively than Austin normally does, at least in a short sample. And I'm not saying that you should play Kennard over Austin.
Well,
I'm just saying there needs to be a balance of Austin, or there needs to be some sort of – and JJ's great at this, of figuring these things out on the fly. We've seen it already this season multiple times, of kind of imagining the situation. He's going to have to give Austin some help defensively, and also give Kennard a little more responsibility on offense to allow him to kind of be the player he's been. It is a delicate dance. It's hard to do on the fly, but I trust that JJ can do it because I trust that he's already done it multiple times this season.
You're bringing up something, though, that's really interesting to me, which is, like, here was Luke Kennard in Game 1 and Game 2. I don't remember the exact point totals. Maybe it was 23
He only took
and
4
21.
shots.
Well, that's just it. This has been the complaint all season long since Kennard got to the Lakers. In fact, it was the complaint previous to him showing up at the Lakers.
Correct.
Do you remember when he first showed up?
Yeah.
We looked at his numbers.
And I yelled and screamed. I said, this is going to be the issue.
Well,
like, you're going to want him to shoot more because
correct.
he's just hesitant.
Right. And so the story was, hey,
He defers.
He's leading the NBA in three-point field goal percentage, but he's not taking nearly enough. And so Kennard, who to me, he seems like the kind of guy that when he knows he's cold, he'll stop shooting. Versus if you were Steph Curry and you were 0 for 10, what do you think Steph Curry's going to do? He's going to keep on shooting. If you're Luke Kennard and you start off 0 for 2, rather than get tentative and go, hey, it's not my night, I'll just pass it to this guy. Shoot the freaking ball, man. That's what you are. And so now you have this problem where it's like Kennard won't shoot as much as you want him to. And if I'm being honest about it, last night, it was only Game 1 back. But I thought Austin Reaves took a lot of really careless shots. It wasn't just driving to the basket and trying to, bank a ball off the backboard. It was long-range three-point shots, and he was so off. So, hey, Luke, this is Kennard. Shoot the freaking ball. And hey, Austin, if it's not your night, facilitate, defend, do other things to add value. Because offensively, we can look at the numbers, and if you didn't see the game last night, you're like, wow, this guy scored a bunch of points last night. 22 points is his first game back, played 34 minutes. But he really wasn't that good.
But it felt like Luke Kennard was being smothered by Houston, and it was on Sunday's game as well. Like they had Amen Thompson up on him.
Agreed. But that's why you would think that they're going to be able to with Austin. You would think that wouldn't be the issue. Right. I understand the point from the other night. But with Austin out there, they have to figure out a way. They should be able to figure out a way to make it easier on him, to be honest with you.
They should, but every single time he had the ball, there was a guy fully on him, and he wasn't going to just take a shot because he had the ball in his hands, so he's going to try and get the ball
No,
out
but
of his
sometimes I think what I'm telling you is he has to force one. And JJ has said this as well, that sometimes he has to force one because I think the quote JJ said is,
rather than go like 0 for 8 than
right. I'd rather him shoot, for a series 37% and not shoot his usual 45 because he's not taking the perfect shot every time.
Right, but this is why he is just a spot-up shooter on other teams and not an actual playmaker. Like he's being forced to be on here. He's been doing a great job at it, but he just has not. He's not finding open spaces. And maybe you're right, Sedano, that he needs to take those shots just to see one go up. But the fact is, he's getting rid of the ball when he's covered, and he's covered pretty heavily every time he has the ball.
Yeah, it's like sometimes in football, you just want to loosen up the defense by taking a shot deep down the field. And, hey, you know what? If it's incomplete, no big deal. If it gets intercepted, it's like a long punt, and maybe we get lucky and we get a pass interference penalty. Sometimes, to George's point, and I actually tend to agree with you, George, you got to sometimes just force it just to force the defense to just respect you, because maybe you will drop one. Maybe you will get fouled and you'll go to the free throw line 3 times. I'm sure as a guy who wants to win and a guy who feels guilty, oh man, we were so close and I got hurt, I got to get back as fast as I can. Chances are that over the last month as he's rehabbing, he's probably not doing everything he does during the basketball season, which is lifting weights, eating a certain way to keep his weight up, etc. And he kind of looked skinny to me last night. Mm-hmm. So there's no doubt your point is made on me that if they wind up losing this series, they may have to look at Austin Reaves and say, do we want to pay him that kind of money? Well, why would we not? Because maybe we have a question about his durability.
Well, do you remember, Cappy, when you asked Wendy a few weeks ago if you had to choose between LeBron and Austin Reaves, who are you bringing back? And it was like, no questions, it's Austin Reaves. Has your mind changed at all as far as that question goes?
That is an excellent question, Lindsay Baseball, and I appreciate the layup. Mm-hmm. My answer has changed.
Oh, really?
Yes, and here's why. Here's why. Because if you told me, hey, look, LeBron is willing to play for, I'm just making up a number, $25 million. But, George, what would Austin Reeves' number be if he were able to max it
I
all
think it
out?
starts around like 45
Okay.
million or something like that. 40, somewhere between like 43 and 45 million, if I recall correctly.
If the Lakers were to go on to lose this series, I might have to seriously say to myself, you know what? I think with Luka and LeBron and a couple of new toys, we saw how good this thing could be. I don't know that I want to spend all that money on Austin Reeves because I might have a question about durability or postseason performance. And if I've got questions and I'm not 100% bought in, then do I want to spend that kind of money?